I would like to talk about first in here is how real is this crisis in minds of everybody? To people's minds and imagination, it's real, but I see it as a fiction. And this is some of the discussions that we're going to go through today. Uh, the real nature of the current crisis actually isn't just starting. It actually started in the mid 90s. Call it a crazy, call it separate talks or divergent. When you start thinking, what am I saying in the mid 90s? That's when we started boom, or what everybody thought it's an economic boom. But I see it two things. It wasn't an economic boom, but it was pricing boom. Because the reason why I'm saying this, we had a huge increases in prices for the same value that what started back in 1995. So the boom is with prices, but not with value. The boom is with cost, but not with the actual opportunities. Because today, the point where we got into, it increased the prices, the inflation that actually consumed the buying power of people around the world, especially in this region, where they have less to buy and with a lot to offer. So where is the problems? Capital didn't disappear from the world. Opportunities didn't disappear from the world. It actually is a lot more than it was before. But where is the problem? Why things are a status quo? Because we are looking at different directions. First of all, what I like to say is it a problem? When you say economic problems, when that means we have less resources, we have less money, we have less opportunities. I don't see that reality, and I hope most of us agree with this. Then it is not an economic problems because we have economic opportunities. Money are there, opportunities are there, talents are there. Now, talents managing what exists of the assets today, I see that's where there's a problem there. Because we are persistent on the reviewing or looking at things the way we started them in the mid 90s. Let me go back that far, not beyond that, not earlier days of this. Uh, we have to change. We have to change things around the way we think. Somebody tells me, "What is your first step to solution?" I say, take everybody to an hospital emergency room, isolate their brains or their thinking or their mindsets from their businesses. Only then do you start seeing the opportunity. Now, it's a compilation of things. One, you have a high cost of everything, lesser buying power among people, among the public. That actually accumulated to result in fear among people, fear among investors or people that has money today, and that actually increased the momentums of less cash in the market, that the market now is stopped. Where do we go? I want to stop here a minute and listen to Makram side of this discussion to see what he thinks is relevant to some of the points or add more to what I just mentioned.
Okay, I don't believe buying power changed. I don't believe buying power does ever change that dramatic, that fast, without fundamentals behind it. I believe the will to buy changed. So people still have the money, exactly as you said. Actually, we don't have shortage of liquidity in the market. We have access of liquidity in the market, and the increase in pricing that we talked about is mainly not an increase of value, which also leads us to another thing where resources are plentiful, but not all resources. So we are in the age of access of energy, too much energy resources. Yeah, and more are being produced and found every day with technological advancements and changes that are taking place. At the same time, we have access of mineral resources and we have access of resources that have been considered scarce over history. But the resources that probably are scarce today is the good quality natural agricultural resources, maybe. Okay, because our kind of agriculture, there was a very interesting saying by an American doctor who said, we are producing things that taste like food, look like food, but do not have the same characteristics to make it food. Um, I do agree. We don't have today a clear view, or people do not have a clear view of what's coming. Everyone looks around and thinks that it's a crisis, it's a disaster, it's the end of the world that's coming. Actually, the best opportunities came since the 1800s in the big recessions, the Great Depression, which mostly is the most recorded and the most indexed. However, this is where opportunities start.
Absolutely.
And what we have in front of us probably is change of values. And change of value of things mainly starts not only with assets but also with currency that currently depends, similar to the US dollar, on a federal promise. The economic system is changing. What we talked about and we talk about all the time is the repolarity, establishing the polarity again. Currently, the fight of powers results in that. But propaganda is to start with. This morning, I've read something that I've published around a year and a half ago, which is same newspaper having a same piece of news published in two different countries. Okay, and it's an American newspaper publishing something that the American president have done in relevance to the Chinese policies.
Mm-hmm.
In the first market, it says so and so goes soft on the on talks. In the second, the American president goes rough. So they're selling exactly what that market needs, what that market wants to hear. And that's probably part of our problem. Now, to go back, not to divert from our main, which is the economic crisis and what is fact, what is fiction, obviously we have issues in our economies. We have fundamental issues in our economies, and those issues are growing and probably may continue to grow. But what we need to look at today and understand well is, are those issues the result of what we've done yesterday, or are those issues similar to what Dr. Baidas says since the 1990s? Are our economic problems today recent problems? Have we sorted out the problems in the most recent recession, which is in 2008? I don't believe so.
No.
I believe we've just delayed it. We've given it some morphine.
Just like putting it under the rug.
So we need to search the right locations for the issues and for the opportunities. And a key point, exactly what your friend, what you've advised your friend, if you are able to separate his
mindset from his business
today from his business.
This takes us back. We always talk about in terms of think out of the box. Here, I would like to say throw the box away. The reason why I'm saying this, you need to go to the fundamentals before you started your business, not when you started your business. When you started your business, you actually have your mindset, the experience, the talents that's developed around that. Over the years, we tend to fall in love with what we have, and that's a serious problem. Years ago, there was a famous statement of a very famous, popular businessman in the United States. I forgot the name, and he says, "You never fall in love in a business that you may have to leave in a split of a second." So throw the box away. And when everybody says no business is around, I say it's wrong. This is why. We are all focused on where we develop our business in big cities. How about the rural areas? Do we have opportunities there? We never explore. Years ago, somebody told me if you travel to an airport and you have all of those kind of problems, discomforts, processing your time to get in, that's when you get in. That's the place you get in because nobody has been there before. And if you go somewhere where everything is so conveniently provided to you at ease, fly back because everybody has been there before you. We are focused on where we have been and we don't want to leave. We get so passionate about it and we don't want to break away from that passion. We really need to move away, to break away. Look at the opportunities that exist. Take, for example, another friend of mine a couple of weeks ago. We were talking, he had a chain of cafes, franchises. And he says, business is bad. I looked at him and I says, how bad is it? He says, enough for me probably to close the franchises or just leave the franchise as it is and collect the fees. I says, well, let me ask you one simple question. Are all cafes around are losing money or some of them are making money? He looks at me, no, some of them are making money. And I says, well, let's look at what they do. You sell coffee? He says, yes. He says, what else do you sell? He says, coffee. He says, let's take a Starbucks, for example. That's not a promotion for Starbucks. Nobody understands that. But let's take a Starbucks. What do they sell? He says, coffee. I said, no. They actually sell you a place where you conveniently, for free, you walk in, sit, hold your meetings, and study, work at your own leisure. And by the way, we have coffee for you. And by the way,
You can also buy coffee.
I can go pastries, lunches, or whatever, but stay. Don't move away. So, what is it? Is it bad economic times or bad economic decisions? That's what separates the two together. Let's talk about real estate. Makram comes around heavily from a real estate background. When everybody says real estate is standstill, quiet, not moving, people are not engaging with it. I always say there is a difference between projects and opportunities. Mindsets of people in the market today, in the real estate sectors, is still focused on we have a very nice projects, we have nice properties, we have nice facilities. I don't care if that's yours.
That's
Opportunities is mine.
fine.
What it is gonna actually move me to be attracted to that property that you have. We always say good brands makes people feel good about you. Great brands makes people feel good about themselves. And actually, this conversation occurred between me and Makram last Thursday. Okay, we have a number of opportunities between us. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. But I don't shy away. I'm very transparent with the things because it's a learning journey for all of us. And when we say we have these opportunities as an added value to your business, I says, well, it's an added value that could potentially make me money a week or a year from down the line. He says, perhaps. I said, I don't care about that. That's what makes me feel good about you, and my members of the club makes me feel good about you. What makes me feel good about myself is basically how are you going to make me money today? How is God going to turn things better for me today? Not down the line. It's something that I can really, what do you call it, dug into my heart, fall in love. I always have the saying, women are very successful business decision makers for one reason. They are great at making you fall in love with them in order to tap into your pocket. Not prestigious, but
that doesn't work with me, unfortunately.
I'm not saying this in a bad way. I'm saying it in a very positive way because women are very they're very focused team players, emotional. They really make you feel good about what you are. Makes me feel good about yourself. So that's why most companies, big companies today, their leaderships are women. Take for example General Motors. Take for example HP. Take example Compaq, Yahoo. All of these major companies, they brought women as a decision makers for one simple reason. They make people, they create the tunnel, the communication pipeline, they ease it up for you to open up with them. Today we have no contact between us and the market. The opportunities, we have no understanding of those opportunities. Once we have looked at the projects and what opportunities that are meaningful to the clients, that's when we start making a change. But here comes another problem. How do we connect to those opportunities if we have no data? We have no knowledge in terms of what
and
really
understanding big data.
The big data. Businesses talks about we want to do better. We talk about governments talks about we have to invest to move things around. What are you going to invest into if you don't have data available? You have no idea what the market wants. You have no clue.
Similar to shooting blindly.
Shooting blindly. That's what it is.
So be blindfolded and start shooting, and then things will work out.
Let's apply that onto the real estate. How do you think real estate market and the current status of real estate market is being affected for the lack of data?
Not only lack of data, lack of analysis of data and ability to analyze data. The problem is that there is parties that do possess data, and we talked about few companies, we'll not mention names now, that own the data. We are data for them. However, their ability to use this data afterwards in a positive manner is lacking. This is where we're lacking. We're not lacking out of the availability of data. We're lacking, or not all of us are lacking out. First, the understanding of data, and then the analysis, the intelligence behind the data.
Or the data analytics.
Yes. And intelligence. We talked about the last conference we've done that I've attended. There was a major thing being talked about, which is how to grow your consumer. Since that time before his birth, Dr. Osman, Mr. Osman was talking about it. Yeah,
I started this.
You started
connected it with the communication.
100%. And he's the head of Do, CEO of Do. So I believe they possess great data. One of the best parties in the market that own data and that have data. We need to start understanding how to utilize data to avoid what we can call today a disaster, or what people can look at today as a non-recoverable from crisis. I do not believe that we are scientifically going to that. I believe there is changes of values that are happening and gonna happen. That's why I say not currency, go to assets.
Absolutely.
Not currency, go to assets. And what kind of assets? Now, I'll go back to my industry. Whenever we talk real estate today, people are looking at the market prices as the biggest issue, and they look at that as the biggest disruptor. And I always stop them. I tell them, your biggest threat is coming from somewhere else, guys. You're worried about a 15 or 20% drop in a market. However, you should be worried about something else. You should be worried about how technology, utilized properly, from solar technology to prefabricated houses and other kinds of technology, in urbanizing that land that's currently not feasible to urbanize and utilize. So the threats are in a different place, the opportunities are in a different place, and you've said something a few days ago, which last week I was doing without thinking of it scientifically that way. People should scrap things they have today and go back to basics. Last week in our morning meeting in one of my companies, I said, guys, we're taking our business back to basics. That's to scrap. What's our business cycle and what's our client's cycle? And how can we make our client feel better about himself in that?
Take the application, the same what you just mentioned, and apply it on what happened to Nokia. Nokia was the greatest company on the face of the earth. They thought they've got it controlled. They thought they've got the monopoly over the market. And when Android actually was offered to them at first, they left. What happens today, they went out of business. Now, what happened to Nokia is actually what the majority of the market is facing today.
Yes.
We're refusing to change the way we have done business, the way we looked at business.
And the box is so rigid. The box that you want to throw away is so rigid around that.
Exactly, but you have to break it and you have to throw it away. Same thing happened to BlackBerry. The same thing happened to IBM when the Microsoft was offered to them. So what's going on right now is mindset changes. That's holding us back.
And the fastest who does it probably is the fastest to go out to the solution. So you need to be aware where the problem lies. If you've reached a wrong location or a wrong destination in your business, it means the mindset behind that was wrong.
Absolutely.
So continuing to try to find a solution
and
the same way doesn't work.
And the way business is done. Also, take a look at it. For example, why Amazon, Uber, and the likes are succeeding, while other local stores, for example, are not.
Yep.
So somebody's making money. It's not bad times. It's bad choices that's making. Why did Amazon succeed? Because Amazon gave people an ease of choice. When to buy, how to buy, where to buy, at your own convenience.
Convenient entry and convenient exit.
So you have no limitations. The sky is the limit for what you want to do with it. Today, Amazon is looking back right now. They started with at ease. Now they're looking for the inspiration, where they started blending the technologies that they have with the local experiences that they are accustomed to. but they are able to adapt fast. Like you said, we're not talking about Amazon and Ubers and the Facebooks because having the big data. They are able to move fast with the changes that our the traditional businesses are not. We have to start thinking: are we conventional businesses or non-conventional businesses? If you are non-conventional businesses, then you need to look at your processes, your decision making, the how you look at opportunities, how you are able to act before you react.
Are we businesses of the past or businesses of the future? And I believe every time we have a chat, every one of us should take something with him to his kids after that of it.
That's when we said, you remember the example we talked about before. When we developed the Sustainable Human Development Protocol, we actually looked at the sustainable relationship with companies with people.
Yes.
The real meat of data. But imagine the value of that relationship when it goes back to birth or pre-birth. Now I have a data that is growing, and I'm able to understand the needs is growing.
And the data quality is improving because the data collection processes are also changing.
That's the key. What it makes this thing successful. And I think the opportunities are great, and it's coming. The potentials are much greater than before. Yes, we're going to see a lot of those dinosaurs disappearing.
And we're going to see the new bubbles also disappear. There's another example. I don't like to name companies, but this one I will name, WeWork, because it's being talked about every day today. A valuation of around 30-ish billion for an IPO, and then slashing the valuation by half, and then now probably no IPO. I believe that the business or the business standards and basics are still standing, do still stand. Anyone hearing us, listening to us, thinking with us today should start by thinking differently. If Amazon dares to change today, and giants dare to change today, we should dare to change. We should start the change. We should be able to maneuver easier, maneuver better. And we should able, similar to, you mentioned that coffee shop, your friend's coffee shop. You didn't mention Mavericks.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So the solutions are there. Just think differently. And when you put Mavericks, by the way, Mavericks, it's better that you introduce Mavericks, not me, probably.
Maverick is a membership that we designed at Icon Club to actually enhance the relationship of companies with children ages 11 and 18 years old, to turn them to businesses. So the relationships that we are doing with this, my friend, his franchise, is actually becomes the case studies for every child participating in that program. When they graduate, they're able to develop their franchise and be able to build it, promote it, sell it. But not only that, now they have a data essence that will help them to understand what it takes to make it successful.
And that's
which
creating
major
consumer
businesses
also
like
from
that.
birth. That's also creating consumer from birth.
Absolutely.
Training consumer. But also, on top of that, the energy that is being harvested there, and the ability of a business to really interact with the community that way is very good. And that takes us back to value. Value, when we go back to value with our grandfathers, it's exchange of value.
Mm-hmm.
It's a barter of value. You give me value, you take value back. And
that creates opportunities for both.
And that's exactly what's happening there. And I believe the future is barter. 400 years ago, you used to plant peaches, I used to plant apples, and I give you apples and you give me peaches, and depending on the value of apples and peaches used to work depending on market forces. Okay, with very little speculation there, depending on market forces. And manipulation was rarely possible.
And why bartering is coming back? For one simple reason we talked about earlier today. The value or the cost of assets around the world today is times and times unimaginable numbers.
Value did not change.
The value didn't change.
Price did.
Prices have changed, but there is no cash in the world available, printed out, to cover the cost of a real estate.
Lucrative accounting can only reach a place and cannot continue beyond.
And we're wondering why we're having problems.
Okay, and I believe we're full of lucrative accounting aspects all over the world, yeah? From Swiss banks to all other banking systems. We look, if we take everything from macro to micro, and we start looking at that and the details of that, because it's easier for us to understand. I always like to simplify things before I complicate it.
That's why we brought the Maverick in to disrupt the process of how businesses is done at the age of 11 to 18 years old. What made Amazons and Ubers and the like successful? It's that generation age. 11 to 18 years old, sitting at home, playing with gadgets. Wow, let's order Burger King. Wow, let's order McDonald's. I'm not promoting them.
Don't order any of those guys.
Don't go to Wendy's either. By the way, we had one last time. But what I am saying is, it has to break it away, and we have to get those ideas from those who are not besides us. I hear a lot of companies talks about we are running brainstorming sessions among ourselves. I said that's biased. You're not going to get free ideas from your own people because they are corrupted with your ideas and your business practices for all the time. Bring somebody from the outside. That's what we did with IPEN, is connecting those companies to an ecosystem that does not exist. Bring them back to people.
And getting people in. There was a Dr. Tahboub, I believe, in the last session we had, which is amazing. I said something which I really believed in, and I was writing about. And in a very short 2 minutes, he changed that whole idea for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? I was saying, we are in the age of less productivity. He said, stop. We are not. We are in the age of more productivity and possibilities of productivity. Now, maybe it's not focused productivity, but it's more productivity. And he gave me a very simple example, which was amazing. You should have him, by the way, in another session, probably.
We will.
He said, today, you can do what you used to do in 2 hours in 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
Or 1 minute. So in 2 hours in the morning, you can send emails and communicate by email with 50, 60 people, which you used to need days to communicate with. So productivity should be at a higher level today. And that goes with produce, from agriculture to everything else.
Mm-hmm.
What lacks is our focus, the right culture and mindset behind it, so that we are able to utilize the technology that we have, be it data and data collection to data analysis, and analytics go through intelligence. And we are way beyond AI today in that. I'm not that guy who understands technology to that level. But the world is way beyond that today. And I believe that this is the solution, or one of the solutions to what we're on. And we always talk about solutions. Yeah? What proposed solutions. And I believe each of us should start with himself. Let's start with a change of mindset that says, today is positive, with all what's around us, regionally, internationally, globally, we have the right mindset that says there is opportunities in that. There was always opportunities in probably Tbilisi when the Soviet Union was falling apart.
Think about what opportunities you create for others, not just what you sell of your products, the benefits of your products. A few months ago, I was at a conference that was focused on education. And everybody was talking about that we should adapt to technologies and the things and the like. And I said, I have one question when times for questions, and I says, why do we need education? Here we have traditional universities that a student that walks in 2018, was born in 2000, acquires information faster than the instructor, able to analyze the information faster than the home department at college, and the information is far more up to date than the whole library of the university. So why would I need education? We really need to redefine things. 2004, we launched our e-university concept from academic points, and alhamdulillah, we were the first in the Arab world that actually introduced it. We were listening to presidents of universities. Oh, children don't want to have that. They want to have the campus environment. They want to have everything. They don't want the technologies. Today, children are more connected to their watches, smartwatches, to their smartphones. They don't want to leave. So how much of those opportunities conventional universities have lost? Tremendously. So what we need to do is mindset change.
And you said something which is key to our future. Children today in universities or instructors in universities are in general not qualified to teach his student what he should be taught. I'll give
This
you an
day.
example. Today, I'm a marketing graduate. Whatever I studied 15 years ago is today nonsense. Approximately. Yeah, the basics are still there. I'm not saying no. But the tools, the methods are changed. Whatever people have acquired, so I had yesterday interviews with interns, the day before yesterday, Thursday, interviews with interns. And the interns come in with outdated studies. They're just finishing university. And their knowledge is already outdated. Algorithms, methods have changed. Digital marketing today is so fast that we barely can follow.
We ran 2009 a training program to university instructors on modern education and e-learning. Two of the instructors participated were deans of colleges, one of media college and the other one of IT college, and both I failed them. I failed the media, the media college dean because he didn't even know how to use a computer. And he's a dean of a media college at a major university. And the IT guy, he just ran crazy. He says, "How can you fail me? And I'm an IT dean." I says, "Because your mindset is wrong. You're more focused on that everybody has to adapt to your technologies while your technology has to adapt to everybody's needs. So what we really need to do, where the opportunities of the future, is how we really adapt our business around everybody's needs, based on what they actually tells us, not what we guess that they would need. So we always assume things for others rather than hearing them."
With a caveat, which also was discussed in a session recently, it's when Apple went on with a new iPhone, they didn't really check the needs that are current, they checked future needs.
Yes.
So what we need to do is either improvise or recreate people's needs and give them solutions to problems that probably are not there or they're not aware of. So the apps that we have today are solutions for problems that probably we had yesterday.
They're tools to help us deliver solutions.
But we weren't aware of that. So awareness is also key.
Absolutely. But the problem is, how could you be aware of something and you have no data of what you really need to do? Basically, the biggest problems of companies, they have no ecosystem. Everybody, they're isolated in their businesses, and we've got people running all over the world. Let's sell. That's not an ecosystem. An ecosystem basically have to be plugged in with the market that's going to give you back information, to give you the ideas. We are more focused on what ideas we generate rather than the ideas that the market generates for us. I think we're running out of our time. What I would like to, do you have any other remarks that you would like to add?
I believe we're doing well.
Faisal, you want to take it from here? Hello?
Faisal have left us probably.
No, he should be there. Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Baidas. And I want to point out that there are some questions. If you can take a look at them on your left panel.
I cannot see the questions.
Okay. So at this point, I want to open the floor for questions. Attendees could ask questions from the Q&A area on your left-hand side.
Yeah,
Submit your questions so that it could be answered.
There are questions, but I don't see them right now. Do you see them at your side?
No, there are no questions. So far, there are no questions.
Okay.
Why don't we?
Okay, let's.
So, the dynamics of this region in terms of the issues that you discussed, are they any different than any other part of the world with this particular issue?
There's regional.
It's the fear is common all over the world. The nature of the problem is not. The opportunities, for example, in UAE are great. The problem is we are more focused on the assets than the opportunities. That's why we are unable to see it. For example, where are those opportunities are? I love Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid's vision. Basically, is he tried to push people to see beyond their local assets, but yet we're refusing, and that's where we're missing the changes that's supposed to take place. So the fear it's the common fear is worldwide, but the challenges are not. So if that answers the question, Makram.
The opportunities, I believe, as you said, the opportunities are different and it's regional and sometimes local. However, there is the case that we start with, in my opinion, is the same worldwide today. It's a mindset. Let's start by changing the mindset. This is my cause. I believe that if I want to impact everyone around me, including myself, because it will go around and come back to me with something, I want to change people's mindsets and I want to change my mindset. I want to make sure that every day I'm poised to see opportunities differently, understand opportunities differently, with an open heart and an open mind, and look beyond the assets. Look beyond the basics of currencies, basics of property, basics of businesses. This is what we need to look at, in my opinion.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, it did. Thank you very much. Dr. Ishaq Al-Qutub says we had to look at important issues within the topic.
What does he mean, important issues?
I'm expecting that he's still typing the question. He's finishing it. So, Dr. Al-Qutub, do you want to finish your question?
Let's start with talking about important issues until hopefully Dr. Ishaq.
Some of the important issues, basically what we've talked about, associated with this is banking. The current policies associated with banking, currencies, that has to be revisited. The laws has to be looked at to be more relaxed in order for people to start really feeling the comfort to diminish fear. So a lot of these are some regional concerns, not just on
I believe
local levels.
legislation-wise, we are now progressing pretty fast, specifically in Dubai and the UAE, I believe, which is very positive. But yes, policymakers should start creating policies of the future.
For example, I mean, you cannot really foresee changes, advancements economically with the law holding a gun against people who owes money. Because the biggest people who are right now in the financial problems are the people who own businesses.
And innovators.
And innovators. So you really need to relax a lot of those laws to give them a little breathing room. Banks have to work with their stakeholders, their customers, in order to give them a breathing room.
And we should look at sustainability. So I believe what the UAE government and Dubai mainly is doing is, although people don't understand it mainly, and I don't believe it's announced enough, but when people look at real estate prices today, it's dropping, and I always voiced my opinion. I don't represent the government, neither do I claim to know knowledge or info about that. What I see is my opinion. I read between the lines that the policy is to start getting more competitive to be able to attract industry, to be able to attract different kinds of tourism, not only the tourism because we have great beaches and great sun and we're a destination, to be able to increase the quality of trade and improve the quality of trade by having sustainable industry. And all of this happens through working on medcare, working on schooling, and working on housing. And working on housing in a way that makes us more competitive, and schooling in a way that makes us more competitive, and medcare in a way that makes us more competitive. And I believe we are going towards that. This is what we are now working on in the city. And this today, compared to 3 years ago, housing is more competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Medcare is much more competitive. And schooling is getting there. I believe schooling is so linked to housing at the same time. So things are being dealt with at that level.
It will change, but I like you said, it's a compilation of things, of activities that has to work together. But it has to be really focused on the banking industry, because if they don't really do something to relax their procedures, their policies with their clients and their customers, a lot of those banks are going to be going out of business faster than their clients.
Sure.
In the marketplace, or being, you will see again a lot of mergers, and real estate value is going to go down. How far? Nobody knows. We don't have a crystal ball. But it will go down and it creates new opportunities. What we have to focus on. That's what we really need to do is stop feeling sorry for what you might have lost, and start really cherishing the moment of what you can actually recreate or refresh at. Only then you will start.
Dare to change and dare to let go what you have today that's not working.
That should be actually the taglines for our sessions. We dare you to change.
Dare to change
into this. I think that's what we have, Faisal. Anything else?
No, at this point, nothing else. We are coming closer to the end of the session. I just want to remind everybody that we have several other webinars and webcasts coming up. They are scheduled on identitybrandingforum.net. So please visit our site. You may also follow our social media platforms. There's one more question. Okay, this is the continuation.
It's not issue the SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis gives you current market status. It does not give you an accurate reading of the future. Does not give you. It gives you an analysis of your situation, but it does not give you the new changes, the disruptive changes that occurs around you. So it does not work unless you are specifically aware of the new changing that you are about to adapt or adopt. I'm sorry. Only then would it work to measure, to gauge, or the resources that you have, and how much of it that you would need to meet those new changes. We need to move away also from the critical thinking to the disruptive thinking. That's really important. And we need to stop focusing on critical things when companies see changes, what's coming up, because they kept them focused on their current market status. If you run a SWOT analysis on existing business today, it's lousy.
And it tells you what, not why.
Exactly. So we need to more, I agree with you. We need to focus more on the why, not on the what and the how. Times have changed tremendously. So that's what we really need to go through. I don't know what Makram.
I agree, and I believe we can go beyond the current or the traditional SWOT analysis in looking at our businesses and our companies and the opportunities that come through. We need to look at the ability to engage our businesses through disruptive thinking, the ability to engage our teams through disruptive thinking, because I do believe that our teams are already consumers, and if we engage our clientele who are partners, our clientele has the best and the most accurate indication for us, because they are the most benefiting. Yeah, and they are the most benefiting. They have the biggest interest in us creating better services and better solutions. So if we listen to our clients, we can listen to our clients through algorithms or through big data, or similar to how I do it simply by listening to the clients.
Or let somebody else listen to them and tells us what we really need to do.
This is where identity branding forum probably can come into play. So that's a possibility, and that's a possibility and an opportunity at the same time, where others can help you with what their pros on. The future of things, I believe, is that none of us can be a pro in everything.
Absolutely.
So go recruit a pro. If you don't know how to do something very well, get somebody who can do it very well to do it for you, rather than you doing it compromised. If you are building a house today, would you go and do the plumbing yourself and try so that you can save money and maybe you can learn it. Not really. If you're building your business today, go to pros in every section. Identity branding forum probably.
The one thing that's really critical. We always talk about connect to people, network. We have to go beyond that. You
Communicate.
Communicate. We have to communicate it properly, effectively. You have to do two things. One, you need to, or three things. You have to identify the opportunities, connect your stakeholders, your ecosystem to that opportunities, and engage them. So now you have a system that is gathering information, real value information, and everybody would give you the opportunities that you really need to look at. We don't see it today because
the conversion, and that's why people network but lack conversion.
They don't have the means of it. That's why we developed IPEN Club that allows companies to actually plug into the ecosystems and be able to identify and connect their stakeholders and engage them, keep them engaged. That's critical. I think that concludes our session for today. Makram, is there anything you would like to add?
Thank you. Change your mindset and be positive on it. Add more every day. Yeah, we call it +3. It's a mindset. It's a way of thinking. Add 3 things every day to what you're doing, and dare to leave what you're living so that you can have more tomorrow morning.
I want to leave you with one quick story. This will summarize it all. Years ago, we had a workshop, and one of those participants she was a marketing director for one major auto dealers in the region. And I asked her, all what you have is showrooms that sells cars. She says, yes. And all what you're selling is cars and auto parts. She says, yes. I says, you had a crazy idea at night, walked in the morning to your showroom, gathered all of your marketing people, salespeople, and told them, all what we have is showrooms, cars to sell, and auto parts to sell. But from this moment on, we are no longer going to be selling cars or auto parts. What would you be selling? She looked at me and she said, I would be selling you a bed in a mental hospital. What else would I be selling? I said, sell them something else nobody else, none of your competition would have to offer. Their peace of mind on the road. Actually, that idea was translated to a real opportunity, business opportunities that made them today one of the premiers in the region, in that particular market area.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. We hope to be able to, that addressed a lot of the things for you.
Can we answer the 2 questions that just came in, probably?
So we are running out of time. If you guys could touch on this last question quickly.
What are the opening and sustainable business? We will respond through email because that takes time. The information, the strategy, sustainability is a changing technology. In a changing technologies, isn't what changes us. Think of it like you have a glass bottle. You can either use it for alcohol or you can use it for water. It's how you use it. You see that we're running crazy behind technologies and not knowing why do we need technology in the first place. What we really need to identify basically is what it is that we are pursuing, why we are in business. I'll tell you what, 99% of the people that I ask, why are you in business? They tell you to make money. It says, that's the wrong reason to be in business then. So basically, technologies is a tool that will help you to achieve something. You really need to understand your universal objectives, why you are in business. Not focusing on what to do and how to do it to make money, but why you are doing it, that will be the value that will help you to be sustainable to make your money. I think we're out of time, like you said. We'd love to do it longer. This is a trial activities that we are.
It was actually a trial. It was really a trial because we were trying at the beginning of the time to try and have it run. But yes, hopefully we added value.
But this is fun, and yes. I really enjoyed this because it's giving us a lot of room to learn on a daily basis. The things we communicate and the things we're gonna keep up doing, inshallah. Thank you for sharing this exercise with us. And we look forward for more together with you in the future. Thank you. Thank you, Faisal.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.